You know, one thing I hear a lot from folks over 70 is, I just don't sleep the way I used to. Maybe you're waking up at 2 or 3 a.m., maybe it takes longer to fall asleep, or maybe you feel tired even after a full night in bed. And listen, you're not alone. This is something I've seen in so many of my patients. But here's the good news. There are real ways to help your body rest better. Let's start small, one step at a time, and give your body the rhythm it needs to stay strong and feel more like yourself again. Let me start with something simple that makes a big difference: the time you go to bed. A lot of people don't realize this, but as we get older, our natural sleep rhythm actually shifts earlier. That means your body starts wanting rest sooner in the evening, not later. But if you're still staying up past 11, watching TV, checking your phone, just trying to unwind, it can throw everything off. And that can lead to tossing and turning, waking up tired or feeling foggy during the day. I remember one gentleman I worked with, George. He's 74, lives in Michigan. Lovely guy, always had a sharp mind, but he started telling me he felt cloudy in the mornings. Turns out he'd gotten into the habit of staying up until after midnight, watching the news, sometimes a movie. He thought it helped him switch off. But his sleep was restless and he'd wake up already tired. So we made one change. I asked him to try heading to bed around 9:30 for a few nights. At first it felt odd to him, like he was going to bed too early. But by the end of the week, he told me, I actually wake up with some energy again. It wasn't magic. It was just giving his body what it was already asking for. What often helps is aiming to go to bed somewhere between 9 and 10:30 p.m. That's when your body is naturally ready to rest. If you dim the lights, turn off screens and just slow things down in the hour before, your brain gets the signal. It's time to sleep. You deserve a night that actually restores you. Think of it like letting your body step into a warm, quiet room. Soft light, calm air, where it can simply rest. Even small changes can open the door to better days. Another thing I've noticed over the years is how many older adults feel frustrated by early waking. You might find yourself up at 5 or even earlier, staring at the ceiling, wondering why your body won't just let you sleep. It's easy to think something's wrong, but often it's just how sleep patterns change with age. As we grow older, our sleep becomes lighter and shifts earlier, so waking up with the sun or even before it isn't always a problem. The key is how you respond to it. I remember a woman I worked with, Mary. She's 76, lives in a small town in Arizona. Sweet lady, used to be a nurse. She told me she'd wake up at 5:15 every morning and just lie there, feeling anxious and disappointed that she couldn't sleep longer. We talked about what mornings meant to her, how quiet they were, how the house felt calm. So I encouraged her to treat that early time as a gift instead of a burden. She started making a little routine: a cup of warm tea, a soft chair near the window, sometimes her favorite old novel or her Bible. After a few weeks, she said something I won't forget. Now, when I wake up early, I look forward to it. It changed the whole tone of her day. One of the simplest ways to make peace with early waking is to use that quiet morning time for something gentle and comforting. A little stretching, a short walk, or even just sitting in silence with a warm drink. It doesn't have to be big, just yours. Even early mornings can feel like a soft beginning, not a leftover from the night, but the first breath of a brand new day. Here's something I often bring up that many folks don't think about: those little afternoon naps. Now, don't get me wrong, a quick nap isn't bad at all. But if you're dozing off late in the day, say around 4 or 5 p.m., that can really mess with your night's sleep. As we age, our sleep becomes more fragile, more sensitive to changes. A nap too late in the day can confuse your body clock, making it harder to fall asleep when bedtime comes. That's when the cycle starts: falling asleep late, waking up tired, needing a nap again. I worked with a man named Tom. He's 80, from a quiet town in Texas. Lived alone, liked his routines. Every afternoon after an early dinner, he'd sit in his recliner and drift off for about an hour. At first it seemed harmless, but then he started complaining that he couldn't sleep until past midnight, and even then, his sleep was light and choppy. When we looked at his day together, that evening nap stood out. I asked him to try something different. No nap after 2 p.m., and if he really needed one, to keep it short, no more than 20 minutes. He agreed. After a couple of weeks, he told me he was falling asleep by 10 and staying asleep longer than he had in years. Just that small shift made a world of difference. What often helps is to keep naps earlier in the day, before 2 or 3 p.m., and limit them to 20-30 minutes. Set a little timer, rest your eyes, but try not to slip into deep sleep. Think of it like a sip of water, refreshing just enough, instead of a full glass before bedtime. Small changes like that can gently guide your body back into balance. Something else I talk about a lot with my older patients is how important it is to have a calm routine before bed. Sleep doesn't just happen the moment you lie down, especially as we age. The brain and body need time to shift gears to understand that the day is winding down. Without a gentle transition, the mind can stay too active, thinking, remembering, worrying, and that keeps sleep from coming when we need it most. I'll tell you about Ellen. She's 71 and lives just outside Seattle. A retired teacher, sharp and thoughtful, but she kept telling me she was waking up every night at 2 or 3 a.m. with her heart racing. I asked about her evenings, and she admitted she often watched news or crime shows right up until bedtime, then tried to fall asleep right after. It was too much stimulation, so we built her a little bedtime routine. She'd make chamomile tea, turn off all screens by 8:30, and spend the last 30 minutes of her evening listening to soft music while knitting. Within 2 weeks, she said she was falling asleep faster, and more importantly, staying asleep. One of the easiest ways to support your sleep is to create a wind-down routine in the evening. That might mean lowering the lights, putting on some soft music, or reading something light. Do the same things each night. Your body will begin to recognize the signals. Think of it like gently closing the curtains at the end of a play. The world gets quieter, and your body knows it's time to rest. Even small evening rituals can become a soft path to deeper sleep. If any of this felt familiar, I want you to know you're not the only one going through it. Sleep changes with age, but that doesn't mean you have to settle for restless nights or tired mornings. There are ways to feel better, step by step. If something here helped or made you think, leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you're trying or what's worked for you. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe and the little bell so we can keep walking this path together. You're not alone.